Biomed Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR Novo Nordisk NVO reported Q1 2026 total revenue of DKK 96. 8B, 15's 2B, up 32% YOY. The Wegovy pill generated DKK 2, 26B, 354 in its first quarter on the market, nearly double the consensus estimate of DKK 1. 16B cumulative prescriptions since the January 5th launch have surpassed 2 million. Novo called it the strongest ever GLP-1 volume launch in the United States. Wegovy injectable grew 12% YOY to DKK 18. 2B, CEO Mike Doustar told CNBC there is no cannibalization from the pill. It's having not cannibalizations but a synergetic effect. Ozempic fell 8% to DKK 27, 8B, but came in above analyst expectations. Novo raised its full-year 2026 guidance. Adjusted sales and operating profit are now expected to decline 4% to 12%, improved from 5% to 13%. NVO shares rose approximately 7% in Copenhagen. Weekly Wegovy pill prescriptions exceeded 2,000 by the week, ending April 17th. Wegovy accounts for 65% of new US prescriptions in the obesity category. Executive takeaway: the oral GLP-1 race has its first scoreboard, and it is not close. Novo's Wegovy pill brought in 354 medals in Q1 on 3 million prescriptions, with weekly TRX exceeding 2,000 by mid-April. Foundayo launched 3 months later, logged 3,707 prescriptions in its second full week, and has not yet contributed revenue. Novo's cumulative prescription count has surpassed 2 million. Foundayo has reached approximately 2,000 patients. The math favors Novo by roughly 100 to 1 on cumulative prescriptions, and Novo is generating meaningful revenue while Foundayo is still ramping. Jefferies analyst Michael Leuchten noted that oral Wegovy beat consensus by nearly 100%, a beat magnitude that rarely happens in pharma earnings. Doustar's most important comment was on cannibalization. The pill is not pulling patients off the injectable. Both are growing. This is the best outcome Novo could have hoped for. The pill is additive to the franchise, not substitutive. The broader obesity care category grew 22% at constant currency. Doustar said the Wegovy brand now accounts for 65% of new US prescriptions in the obesity category, a market share figure that will worry Lilly. The key caveat: Foundayo is 2 weeks old. Lilly CEO David Ricks said the launch would take quarters, not days. RBC's Huying said weeks 8 through 12 are the earliest window for assessment, but the early gap is undeniable. Read full analysis, what to watch. Foundayo, weeks 3 through 8. The weekly TRX acceleration curve is now the most important data point for Lilly investors. The gap between 2,000 weekly Wegovy pill scripts and 3,707 Foundayo scripts needs to narrow dramatically for Lilly to compete in the oral segment. Wegovy 8D ramp, the high-dose injectable. Wegovy 7.2 mg launched April 7 with 27% mean weight loss in the step-up trial. Watch for initial TRX data. Oral Ozempic adoption, launched May 4 in 7,000 plus pharmacies. The rebrand from Rybelsus under the Ozempic name will be tested in Q2 data. Zenagamtide, amycretin, Phase 3. Novo initiated the AMAZE Phase 3 program during Q1. This is the next-generation obesity candidate, dual GLP-1 amylin agonist, that could further extend Novo's lead. ASCO, May 31, Revolution Medicine's plenary session. 24 days out. Top story: Novo Nordisk beats on the back of the strongest GLP-1 pill launch ever. Enval, what happened? Novo Nordisk reported Q1 2026 results on May 6th that beat expectations across the board, driven by the Wegovy pill's stronger-than-expected launch. The numbers: total revenue, DKK 96, 8B, 15, 2B, plus 32%, YOY adjusted operating profit, DKK 32, 9B adjusted sales and operating income, beat expectations by 1% and 14% respectively, Jefferies. NVO shares probably 7% in Copenhagen, Wegovy. Pill Q1 revenue DKK 226B, 354 MIT. Consensus estimate DKK 16B, Jefferies. Beat by nearly 100%. Q1 prescriptions, approximately 3 million cumulative prescriptions since January 5th. Launch, 2 million plus, weekly. TRX exceeded 2,000 by week, ending April 17. Novo called it the strongest ever GLP-1 volume launch in the United States. First launches outside the US expected H2 2026, pending regulatory approvals. Wegovy injectable, revenue, DKK 18. 2B plus 12%, YOY slightly below LSEG expectations. CEO Dostar on cannibalization. It's having not cannibalizations but a synergetic effect, Ozempic. Revenue, DKK 27, 8B down 8%. YOY above analyst expectations, LSEG. Oral Ozempic launched in 7,000 plus US pharmacies on May for obesity care. Adjusted constant currency sales, plus 122%. Wegovy brand accounts for 65% of new US prescriptions in the obesity category. Dostar, CNBC, updated 2026. Guidance, adjusted sales decline, now 4% to 12%, improved from 5% to 13%. Adjusted operating profit decline, now 4% to 12%, improved from 5% to 13%. Improvement driven by Wegovy pill momentum pipeline. Highlights, Wegovy HD, injectable semaglutide, 7.2 mg, FDA approved. March, launched US April 7th. Step-up trial 27% mean weight loss. Xenagam-tide, amycretin. A MAZE phase 3 program initiated during Q1. A weekly insulin. US launch expected H2 2026. Executive impact. Dostar, who was brought in last year to stabilize Novo after a difficult 2025, delivered exactly what investors needed. Proof that the pill launch is working and that it is growing the franchise rather than cannibalizing the injectable. The 304 stenols in Q1 pill revenue on 3 million prescriptions means average revenue per prescription of approximately $270, which is below list pricing and reflects the heavy starter dose mix. Most early prescriptions are at the 1.5 mg lowest dose. As patients titrate to higher doses over the coming quarters, revenue per prescription should increase significantly. Biopharma Dive noted that Novo's best shot at clawing back market share is the Wegovy pill. That bet is paying off. Competitive scorecard, oral GLP-1 Warmetric Novo, oral Wegovy, Lilly Foundeo U. S launch date, January 5, 2026, April 6, 2026, Q1 revenue, 354M, DKK2, 26B, Lideshol, launched, Q2, cumulative TRX to date, 2 million plus 2,000 patients started, weekly TRX mid-April, 2,037.07, self-pay entry, price $249 month, 12-month plan, 149-month, dosing. Take with water, 30 many fast, no food, water restrictions, CV risk reduction. Claim no injectable Wegovy has it. No new US RX market share, 65% of new obesity scripts, Wegovy brand. Early launch diabetes indication, no, oral Ozempic covers T2D, filing late Q2 under CNPV Medicare access. Bridge July 1st, $50 copay. Bridge July 1st, $50 copay. The week ahead. May 7, SCOTUS mifepristone briefs due, today. May 11th, Alito's mifepristone stay expires. May 11th, Daiichi Sankyo delayed earnings, tariff impact. May 12 to 14, Fierce Biotech Week, Boston. May 19, RBC Global Healthcare Conference, New York, late May. Commerce Section 232, report on medical devices expected. May 29th, FDA RTCT public comment period closes May 29th to June. So, ASCO annual meeting, Chicago. May 31, ASCO plenary, Rasolute, 302, full data, RVMD, read, full analysis. Biomed, Nexus Pro Institutional Intelligence. Brief, Novo's comeback. Novo's stock had fallen approximately 38% over the past 12 months before today's results. The company guided for adjusted sales and operating profit declines of 5 to 13% for 2026. Investors were skeptical, the Wegovy pill launch was viewed as the company's best and perhaps only near-term catalyst. The Q1 results answered the key question. The pill works commercially. DKK2 26B 354M in Q1, nearly doubling consensus. 2 million cumulative prescriptions, 2,000 plus weekly scripts by mid-April. The beat was driven by volume, 3 million prescriptions, rather than pricing, starter dose, heavy mix, suppressed revenue per script. Novo raised guidance modestly, 4 to 12% decline from 5 to 13%. The narrowing is significant because it signals management sees a flaw under the franchise decline, driven by the pill's additive effect. If the pill continues to ramp in Q2 and Q3, additional guidance raises are likely. Dose titration and the revenue. Ramp Q1 pill revenue of $350 on one. 3 million prescriptions implies approximately $270 per prescription. That is well below the list pricing for higher doses, reflecting the reality that most early prescriptions are for the 5 mg starter dose. As patients titrate to the 25 mg maintenance dose over 4 to 8 months, revenue per prescription will increase substantially. If the average revenue per script doubles to $540 by Q3-Q4, a reasonable assumption as the patient mix shifts toward maintenance doses, the same 2,000 weekly prescription rate would generate approximately $5.6b in annualized revenue from the pill alone. This is the starter dose trap that caught analysts off guard in Q1. BMO's forecast of DKK 881M had assumed low revenue per script based on starter dose concentration. The actual DKK2 26B showed that even at starter doses, the volume was high enough to generate substantial revenue. As the mix shifts, revenue will accelerate faster than prescriptions. What Foundayo needs to do Lilly's Foundayo is 3 months behind, and the early numbers are not competitive with Wegovy's pill launch. But several factors could close the gap. Price advantage. Foundayo's 149-month self-pay is 40% cheaper than oral Wegovy's comparable plan. Price-sensitive patients and telehealth platforms may increasingly steer toward Foundayo. 2. Dosing convenience, no food or water restrictions. This is Foundayo's most important clinical differentiator and may matter more as awareness builds. 3. Achieve 4 data, the 57% lower all-cause mortality and CV safety data give physicians a clinical rationale to prescribe Foundayo. The T2D filing, late Q2, adds an indication that oral Wegovy does not have. 4. Time. RBC said weeks 8 through 12 are the earliest window. Foundayo is in week 3. The current prescription gap may narrow significantly as physician and patient awareness increases. The question is whether the early Wegovy dominance creates a self-reinforcing cycle. More prescriptions lead to more awareness, more formulary coverage, more physician comfort that Foundayo cannot overcome, or whether Foundayo's price and convenience advantages eventually attract a distinct patient population. Catalyst calendar, May 2026. Forward date Eventicas. Today, SCOTUS mifepristone briefs. Due N a May. 11 Alitos mifepristone. Stay expires N a May 11 Daiichi. Sankyo delayed earnings. Tariff impact. DSNKY May 12 or 14 Fierce. Biotech Week. Boston. Multiple May 19 RBC Global Healthcare Conference, New York. Multiple late May Commerce. Section 232 Report on Medical Devices Expected MDT, BSX, SYK, ISRGMA 29 FDA RTCT Public Comment Period. Closes N May 29 to June. 2 ASCO Annual Meeting, Chicago. Multiple May 31 ASCO Plenary. Rasolute 302. Full Data RVMD late. Q2 Lilly Foundayo T2D filing under CNP VLLYH2 2026 Wegovy pill. Launches outside US. Pending regulatory. NVO Summer 2026 FDA RTCT Pilot Program. Launches multiple June 2026 Takeda CEO Transition Julie Kim. TAC July 1 Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program. Launches LOI NVO Q3 2026 Teva Email X Close Expected Teva July. 31 Section 232 Pharma Tariffs. Effective Large Companies. multiple H2 2026 Fundale. T2D regulatory action expected LLOI H2 2026 Lilly Kilonia. Close expected LLOI H2 2026 Ajax. Proof of concept data. Expected LLOI H2 2026 Revolution Medicines. CNPV NDA filing expected RVMDH2 2026 Novo. Nordisk weekly. US launch. First weekly insulin. NVO mid-2026 Lilly retatrutide Phase 3 obesity readouts. Triumph program. LY-Sept 19 Ultragenics. UX111 PDUFA Sanfilippo type A gene therapy. Rare Sept 29 Section 232 Pharma tariffs. Effective all other companies. Multiple deck. 7 Lilly Investment Community Meeting LLY end of 2026 PHRMA CEO Transition NA. Visit the Pro Hub read. Full article. Is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 2104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing.